Welcome to another edition of Bolton In, all thanks to Palmer Bet. And I tell you what, the racing action, it is firing up. Don't worry about that. Before we get to the racing action, though, a special birthday during the week, Laura Lafferty. Congratulations and happy birthday, mate. How'd you celebrate?
Thank you. No, pretty quiet. Went back home to Warrnambool. Yeah, just spent it with family, nice and quiet. But yeah, 27, getting on.
Oh, 27, Adam McGrath, Chris Roots. What it would be like to go back and be 27 again. Fair dinkum. She doesn't know what's ahead of her, does she?
Absolutely no idea. I'm in that bracket at the moment where I've got to start realizing I'm old, but I'm still trying to hang on to that little bit. So enjoy it while you can, Laura, because trust me, it creeps up quick.
I wish I could. I wish I could remember 27.
Hey, listen, you can remember Tippet Wednesday last week. You're all over Sharpstone. That was the horse you really wanted to follow out of the race, Chris Roots. And, mate, fantastic win in the Manikato.
Brilliant ride by Blake Shin, wasn't it? He just stalked them. Everyone thought they'd go back. They went forward and got the job done. Two-time Group 1 winner now. 2 spot holders looking at for the Everest. I think they'll wait to the weekend, but we could find her at Randwick in October. It looks like that as our next start.
So you're thinking that they're going to go Everest, do you reckon, Chris?
I've spoken to one of the team there today, and he said they're in the hands of Mick Price, but if he's 100% happy with it, she'll probably end up there.
Unreal. And the Belmont Basher was back in Adam McGrath last week, mate. Fair dinkum. You are smoking over in WA, buddy.
We're just trying to chip away nicely, We get Chris at some big prices there, just trying to get a few out there at Belmont, but no meeting this weekend. So we've got to hope that some of these Group 1s we can find some winners.
No meeting, Chris and Laura, and it means the Belmont Bash has put the tools down. He's put the queue in the rack for the weekend. He doesn't even want a piece of it, Chris. He couldn't even find us a winner anywhere else.
I was surprised about that, actually. I thought surely he'll be digging in somewhere else, broaden his horizons a little bit, like he does traveling all over the place, but no.
Went on strike.
On strike, right? Hey, listen.
He just doesn't want to ruin his winning strike rate.
Probably a fair call too. 4 Group 1s this weekend, 3 at Randwick, 1 at Flemington. It is going to be a cracking weekend, that is for sure. Let's start off with the Flight Stakes. All thanks to Palmer Bet, the market apocalyptic. Looking for 3 on the bounce. It is our favourite at $1.90. Tupakara is the second favourite, $7. Queen of Clubs also $7. Within the Law at $7.50. Artistic Venture at $13. And Magenta Skies at $18. And I better mention Karinska because it is one that I know you've been keen on over the journey. Chrissy Roots at $21 for the Flight Stakes. I'll come back to you, Chris. What are your thoughts? Are we thinking, is Apocalyptic too short? Been really impressive last couple of starts.
Well, this Princess Series, that's often the best filly, is just too good for them. And this was a race, but this was a race that Winks got beaten in at one point. So, you look at that and you go, has she been the best filly? Yes. Has she been dominant? Yes. And if you're going to take all that into those sort of characteristics in, you just got to say, well, $2 might be just a good price. So I've got her on top. I think there's a couple of horses that can run really good races. As you said, Perinsky's been one of mine. I'm on it early at a good price. I'm shearing it to run into a hole there and been really nice. But I think Queen of Clubs gets to a trip that it really likes here. Now, this is a 2-race 2 Group 1 preparation for Gary Portelli. It'll go here and then it'll go to the Spring Champion Stakes. Now, I think it'll be better at 2,000 metres, but I think it'll be running a huge race here and have you wanted to back it in the race in a couple of weeks' time.
Beautifully done, Ads. What are your thoughts on the Flight Stakes Group 1 over the 1,600 metres?
Yeah, I've got Apocalyptic on top. I just think from what we've seen so far in the 12 and 14, ticks all the boxes. I think the mile's only going to be suiting even more. So on top for me, I think pretty impressive. The value runners, I think there's only 2 you can really want. Queen of Clubs is one that Chris has touched upon there, and the same one comes obviously from the same lead-up a race. And for mine, it's enviable. You go back and just take a look. The Frankel filly was pretty good. Prior to being held up, was building pretty nice. Ran the 4th fastest 1,000 to 800, then the 3rd fastest 8 to 6, and then just came across hills, moved back out, and ran to the line nicely. I think at $30 and 5's a place. I think worth one. I think it might be wanting that little bit extra distance. So next up potentially as it gets out further. But again, from looking for a value bet, I think it's only Queen of Clubs or enviable, and I'll go the bigger price.
Beautifully done, Laws. What's your thoughts on the Flight Stakes?
Yeah, I'm with the two boys. I've got Apocalyptic on top, and yeah, just a beautiful action too, which you can really see the last 400 when that horse stretches out. So, like they touched on, will suit the step up in distance to the 1600. And my value bet is Artistic Venture. Ran super last start, come from last, over raced. And it's hard for horses when they're over raced and have an interrupted run first half of the race to finish off. And he did exactly that last start, still finished off really well. Again, a nice progressive type.
Yeah, I'm actually same two numbers as you, Laura. We're all on Apocalyptic. Been following this horse this campaign. Obviously, the Freemans a really big push for this horse earlier. Now, man at Palmerbet, Lee Dalton was all over this preparation. He was red hot onto Apocalyptic and has not let us down. And I reckon stretching out to the 1600 metres is going to be right up her alley. And I like Artistic Venture coming through the same race. Got warm late. And I reckon the 1600 is cherry ripe. That is for sure. Hey, listen, let's move along to the 1600 metre feature group one, the Epsom Handicap. Now, a lot of discussion during the week. We've got a shorty in this, and I won't get to the market yet, but I'll come back to you, Ads. A lot of people knocking the quality of the field this year. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the field's not great, but I'm looking forward to seeing one horse and one horse only. And I think that's exactly how we're probably all going to be looking here for Autumn Glow. I don't like to steal things and not give credit. So to Nick Ashman, who I'm sure is a big fan of the show, I saw him put up a tweet today. 5 of the last 7 winners have been 4-year-olds, and 8 of the last 13 winners have jumped from barrier 10 or wider. So Autumn Glow fixed both of those. 4-year-old man, she'll jump from 14. For mine, just simply too brilliant and be winning. My value bet is one that, Matty, you and I have had a bit of luck with and I think followed at times. NCAP. The last time this horse went around in a Group 1, we had it to run in the top 3. It finished third behind Steffi Magnetica, was only beaten 0.4, carries 52 kilos here. I can't see why, again, with that lightweight, it can't run another big race.
I love it, mate. I'll just run through that market for the Epsom. Autumn Glow is the favourite, $2.20. Got the Tricky Gate barrier 14 you just touched on. Pericles, $6.50. Chow Wolf at $8.50. Willie Do It at $9.50. Pier at $13. Swift Falcon at 16. NCAP $21. El Costello 21. Verona Rose at 26. Laura, I'll come to you. What's your thoughts on the Epsom, mate?
Yeah, I've gone with the favorite right on top, best bet, Autumn Glow. Tick tick tick. I just couldn't find anything. That I think the competition's the major part, like we've touched on. So yeah, I'm not venturing too far from Autumn Glow, but my value bet is with Falcon. No luck last start, not much luck the start before that again, and finished off really well. Blinkers on first time Saturday, albeit last prep. So some time ago, but ran second in a Group 1 behind Broadsiding and in front of Aliana. So it's got good form around it. And if it can just get back to its best, might be an each way chance on Saturday.
Righto, Chris. Are you with Autumn Glow as well, mate? Your thoughts on the quality of this year's Epsom?
I think what's happened to this race is there's so many options now that people can pick and choose. This race suffers from being a race that's in the middle of a lot of different races now. So we've got Alan Brown next week. We've got a Hill Stakes next week. We're both worth just as much or more than this race. And, it's losing a bit of its luster. But, everyone wanted to win an Epsom. And I think Autumn Glow will come out and do a Winx on the weekend. She's rated higher than Winx at the present moment at the same time of their careers. When Winx won this, she was only a 110. Autumn Glow's a 111, hasn't won a Group 1 race. That shows you what the handicappers think of her. I think she's the one to beat. I think another filly's going to run a really good race here, a 4-year-old mare, I should say. Verona Rose, I think it's been going really well. It's screaming out for the mile. I think the pressure of this race will be very good. So it's into $26. There was $51 available there beforehand. So it's just one of those days where I think you can have a little bit of play each way.
I'm in the Autumn Glow camp as well, so that is 4 of us for the first 2 Group 1s. We are all on the same horse, Apocalyptic and Autumn Glow. That is quite amazing. My value runner is Willie Do It from the Kieran Maryard, Tommy Berry. I thought this horse did enough first up, got some second up stats, and I reckon it might be the one that's charging home over the top and could be a little upset, but geez, I reckon she's going to be hard to beat, Autumn Glow, that is for sure. Let's turn our attention to race number 9, which is the Metropolitan. Over the 2,400 metres in the Palmerbet market, Soul of Spain for Zach Lloyd as $5 favourite. Birdman was really impressive last start, $6.50. Vauban at $9. Changing of the Guard at $9. Arapo at $11. Etna Rosso at $11. Royal Supremacy $11. Travolta at 12. Adelaide River 13, Juju Kibo at $16 and Piggyback at $21. A really wide open affair, I reckon, for mine, the Metropolitan. I'll come back to you first, Chris Roots. What are your thoughts, buddy?
I thought it was good at Newcastle. That all the favours, Solar Spain, got up on the fence and did the job, but only beat Travolta by a length that day. And Travolta did all the had to sit out wider, didn't have as much luck in the running as Solar Spain did, and it gets a kilo off it for the run and gets Ben Thompson, who's a mighty good lightweight rider. I think at $12, I want to play him. The start before that, he chased changing of the guard all the way, and he just got ripped out off his feet by changing the guard. Here he won't be the only one changing of the guard. I just can see him. He's got a bit of a turn of foot, this stayer, and at $12, I think he can be the one that you can have a bet on and get a really good price, maybe about a nice winner there. The other one I like is Athabascan at the value. He's about $40. I think he's at his best third up. He's one third up. He ran fourth in a Tancred third up. He was runner up in a Minion Cup third up last time. He just comes to hand as a third up. John O'Shea and Tom Sheldon chose to come here to a third up. I think it's a plan, and I think it can run a cheeky race at big odds.
Righto, Laura Lafferty, your thoughts on the Metro, mate?
I found it tricky to find a best bet, but I went with Birdman, drawn tricky, but gets back to be moderate, and race tempo I've got to be moderate to fast. So Birdman, drawn tricky, but gets back, and he's progressing nicely through the good win last start and will be better for it. Kept finding and challenged when challenged and kept finding, which is always good to see. He's got a will to win and gapped for third place. So yeah, I've just popped him on top. My value bet is Vauban, 2 starts back, run third behind Sir Delius, that we all know has gone on to win a Group 1 recently. Last start didn't improve into the race, but the rider reported that the horse didn't like the backup and sort of didn't quite absorb the pressure. Had to do a bit of work to get outside the leader. So with 2 weeks between runs, I'm happy to forgive last start and have Vauban as my value bet.
Love it. Righto, Ads, we're going to come to you. And when we put the tips up in the group, I could not believe that we have landed on the same 2 horses, mate. I'm going to let you just go for it because I was blown away, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say there's more chance of anything else happening than you and I landing on the same ones, especially with what I've gone with. Look, my best bet's going to be Etna Rosso. I don't think that's completely mad. It gets him with the 50 kilos, Jay Ford, Chris Waller. Will be third up in the preparation, was third in the Kingtown, ran the fastest 8-6, 4-2 and 2 to finish in that race. Meets Birdman 2.5 kilos better, performs well at the distance for mine. Really nice each way play going into the race. The one that I think is huge overs, I quickly checked to make sure that everything was lining up and I wasn't getting delusional. My value bet is More Felons, 100-1 at the moment. Jumps from 20, carries the 55, but this horse is also third up. If you look at the stats, beaten 13, beaten 9, you're going to see nothing in the record. You actually have to really go back and analyse this horse. So in this race, ran the second fastest 8-6 and then ran the fourth fastest 4-2 and 2 to finish. 12th in the Melbourne Cup in 2023, second in the Group 1 Tancred last year carrying 59. Gets in with 55 here. I think they've missed one here at a big, big price. Look, I'm not saying it's going to win, but you're still getting 20s a place. Go back and just watch this horse only now. And then with those stats that we've said, I think you'll see a bit of a play there. I think it's huge overs.
Well, as I said, mate, I couldn't believe it that we landed on the same 2 horses, best bet and also value bet, which is quite phenomenal. And has won third up in the past too. Big tick. And I was the same. I just reckon More Felons was a ridiculous price. And Tommy Berry, who's in good nick at the moment. Let's turn our attention to Flemington now. Turnbull Stakes Day on Saturday. And the Palmer Bet Market, Via Sestino, she's a ripper. She's at $2.25. Eliana at $4.60. They come through the same race last start. So Delius at $6. What a victory last start. And Gay Waterhouse coming out saying they're heading towards a Cox Plate. And Tino at $10. Half yours. Gee whiz, haven't seen the best of this horse yet at $11. Golden Path $18 and Moira at $31. That is the market for the Turnbull Stakes. Laura Lafferty, I'm going to come back to you for your thoughts on the Melbourne feature, Group 1 on Saturday.
Yeah, I've gone my best bet, Aliana. I've followed her the whole way through, and even last year and the last couple of years, I'm just such a big fan of hers. She's continued to get better and better, maps well, drawn well. She never disappoints, ultra consistent. She gets out to a more ideal trip. Last start was obviously a non-event, and gets the whole straight to sort of wind up there at Flemington and hopefully be too good. My value bet is Golden Path. Exceptional, absorbed the pressure from last start and was game in defeat. On speed horse, and it maps to be sort of a slow-ish, sort of moderate run race. So I think Golden Path will go forward and get it on his own terms, control the race and suit himself. And yeah, I think he'll be finishing off Golden Path.
Ads McGrath, barrier 1 via Sistina. Is that a little knock?
No, I don't think it can be. Look at the last 5 performances, jump from 1 in 4 of them and 2 in the other. So inside draws are the specialty for Via Sistina. Don't get me wrong, I wish it wasn't the case, but when I went through and looked at that, I thought that's bizarre to see a horse jumping from that inside that many times. I've got her on top. I think if you go back and again look historically, first up run's always brilliant. Second run is always good and wins majority of them. But the third run, we normally see a spike up to 2,000. And I'm expecting that spike again here. I think there'll be more speed. I think this is her pet distance. And I think she's going to be very hard to beat there. So for mine, she'll be winning the Turnbull. My value bet's going to be Antino. 1 from 1 at the distance. That was that brilliant ride by Blake Shin in the Doom and Cup. Love the performance in the Mackay Diva. I think I said on the last show that I know Chris tipped it as the value bet there, and I thought it was the run of the race. Fastest 8 to 6, second fastest 4 to 2, and 2 to finish. So Antino doing nothing wrong, and I'll put that as my value pick.
Chris, what are your thoughts, mate, on the Turnbull Stakes?
Well, if you take it as read that Via Sistina is the best horse in the country and you're getting $2.60 about her, you just have to bet. I think she's clearly on top here. I think she'll put down the marker for the Cox Plate, make herself probably an odds-on chance in the Cox Plate if she wins here and wins easily. She won't have the difficulty of the last race where it was basically track work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I think she'll get the right run. J-Mac will pull her out, and there's a reason why J-Mac's in Melbourne and it's Via Sistina. Like, he could have been riding 3 in 3 Group 1s in Sydney. So Chris Wallace said, no, you stick with the strength, and he's there with the strength. I think Zardozi is going a lot better than her form read. She got home okay late in the Underwood. She gets to Flemington where her best form is. She won the Oaks there, of course. She's run some mighty races at Flemington in the past, and I think this might be the day she gets back, and she gets in under these conditions. She gets in on the limit, which is really, really good for her. And I think she's just missed in the market. $34 is a wonderful price about a horse that I think will be running home. And let's not forget. I think Andy McKeith said it the other day. The 200-metre mark in the Melbourne Cup, she looked a winner last year.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a good eye for it too, Andy. Don't worry about that. Hey, listen, I'm with Aliana. I just thought, I know it was a muddy run race last up, but I thought it was going just as good as Via Sistina. And I'm just looking for the value, $4.60 compared to $2.25 now at Palmer bet. That's the way I'm playing. And half yours. I said at the start, I just don't know. I don't think we know the ceiling. Just that was a really impressive victory last start. And I think breeding suggests the further, the better. I think this horse getting out to the 2,400 in the Caulfield Cup in a couple of weeks' time is certainly going to be ideal and deserved favourite for that race, and expect to run a nice race. And fingers crossed, because my partner's got 10% of the sire, so we need to see a little bit of black type here to start getting a little paycheck, which will be nice. So half yours for a little bit of value. Let's go around the country. Ads, I can't even come to you, mate. I fairly cannot believe you've got nothing for the Palmer, Adam McGrath, Belmont Basher followers.
And what I will say, Matty, obviously no Belmont, they're in Kalgoorlie this week, and then they go back to Ascot. But I will be watching West Star at Flemington. Simon Miller sends that horse across. He's obviously going to end up in Sydney and try and win the Golden Eagle. He thought he should have last year. He's very confident he can this year. So just watch West Star. I'm pretty sure it's race 9 at Flemington. They're expecting good things. Damien Lane will take the ride.
Beautifully done. Chris Roots, what about you, mate, playing around the country? What else do you like?
Yeah, it's a day where you'll sit there, and I think this is a day where you look at them and go, right, that's where my spring's going and where my money's going in the spring. So I think there's a nice horse called Magenta Shores going around. She's winning both the Flight and the Dulcify at the moment. If she doesn't run in the Flight and runs in the Dulcify, I think you've you just got to back her. But I think she was very good winning a maiden at Newcastle. I know it's only a maiden, but I think she might just be too good for the boys here. And if Michael Freedman decides to keep her away from the superstar, you've got to be with her. And then I've gone to Melbourne, race 3, number 4, Officiate. It won at Canterbury last start, this horse, and really didn't have its mind on the job. And then the next thing you saw was, you see, they put the blinkers on. I think, and I'll go to Melbourne, race 3, number 4, Officiate. It won at Canterbury last start. Didn't know what it was doing. Needed a little bit of focus. They put the blinkers on and sent it to Melbourne. J-Mac gets on. I think it'll be very hard to beat.
I love it, big fella. Laura Lafferty, what do you got for us around the country, mate?
Friday night at the Valley, if that's allowed. We always do Saturdays, but yeah, Friday night at the Valley, race 4, number 4, Rich Dotty. I followed this horse. It was disappointing last start, but there were excuses. It's back in grade on Friday, back to the track and trip she probably prefers and has won at before. But, and Graham Begg, we all know, fires this time of year, so I'm hoping, they've gone for an easier target with Rich Dotty. Hopefully it pays off on Friday.
Oh, I love it. Just the single from Laura Lafferty. I'm going back to Flemington, race 6, number 6, Rosberg. I know you're keen on Tetris, Chris Roots, but I'm going against you. Know some of the owners, and they reckon that this horse absolutely burnt down the straight, and they got big opinions. They're obviously heading to that Coolmore, and this will be a little bit of a test, I reckon, for just that Flemington straight racing to see how this horse handles it. And by all accounts, it's not going to be an issue. So I'm hoping that Rosberg can get the job done. And then I'm sticking with the Victorians up in Sydney too. Race 7, horse number 1, Jimmy Star. I thought did enough first up. I reckon ready to show something. I reckon Briasa short enough for mine, and Private Harry, well, the jury's out, and I reckon Jimmy Star at about $4, a nice little play as well. You too can download the Palmerbet app. What we should be doing, fair dinkum, is getting our own punters club happening, because you three have been on absolute fire over the last couple of weeks. So you can get your own punters club happening. Download that app, the Bookies Bag 2.0. Always plenty of offerings in there, that is for sure. But always think, is that the bet you really want to have? Great to talk Group 1 racing with you three. It's really starting to get exciting next weekend. Caulfield Guineas and some feature racing up at Sydney. It's going to be fantastic. And I can't wait to look forward to catching up next week.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.